But it was so funny because this conversation came up a minute ago. There was this guy, and I think we talked about the guy at the dinner table when I had a conversation, but this was another guy. And he's an attractive guy, right? You know that y'all know that New Orleans look when he got a brown skin, he got nice hair, like just y'all know I'm talking about that guy. Like,
Look, can you name somebody that has a new look? I'm just curious.
I'm just saying.
Who got a New Orleans look?
You know how some guys from New Orleans, they got like the nice brown complexion, nice hair. Like, it's a look. It really is a look. And for whatever reason,
Creole? You talking about Creoles? You talking about Creoles?
it's not a lighter skin though. It's like a darker skin.
Like a dark skinned Creole?
Yeah, but anyway, they be fun. Anyway, he was of older age, and so the question was, why aren't you married? And he said, well, why aren't you married? And I thought, well, you control marriage. Women, if a woman, and I'll get into that part too, if a woman allows you into her space and she gives herself to you, right? That means she's done her part. Now you have to do your part by committing to her, right? Are we in agreement of that? So men aren't doing their part. Does that make sense?
Well, I think part of it is because of what you just said. We're not doing our part. I think in regards to how we talk about men are the ones that, control marriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think in that regard is if marriage is our intention, then it's on us to relay that message, communicate that message based on how we're moving. So if we're not moving, if you're providing access to a marriage lifestyle without the true commitment or without the ring or without the or whatever it is, then in that regard, that's on us. We have to take responsibility for that because we're providing access without, without the follow through on the guy's end. So we control that aspect.
So I think that's part of it. I think the other part of it, because what Shane was saying earlier, marriage is getting delayed. There's a lot of people who are going through relationship after relationship being disappointed that it's not ending up in marriage, and they're allowing that hurt and that pain to change them. And I think when you're not operating from that space of like your heel hold self, you behave in a way that's really deterrent to men. Like we pretend like we wear these shields that men can't see through when they see that hurt and they see the way that you're operating and the way you're tapping into masculinity where you normally wouldn't be. And they don't want to marry people like that. Right. And so, and we hear it from the women too, right? Well, I got done dirty here, or my mama taught me this and that. Right. And so you take on this mindset that isn't really who you are, and you operate from that space. And men also don't want to choose that, when if you just stayed true to yourself, did the work to undo the things that you went through, it would be a very different ballgame.
I wholeheartedly agree with you on that, Enos. It's just I want to address a comment real quick from Kane to God in the chat. He said this vetting process you're speaking of is gone by the way this era interacts with each other. I disagree. You know, if you're moving purposefully and intently and you already have a standard set, once she meets that standard, the second part is if you're not from her hometown, go to her hometown. Spend a week or two. Go to her class reunion. Spend time with her family. Put her in uncomfortable situations. See how she responds. See if you notice any red flags. See if anything that you don't approve of comes up. That's how you vet as a man. And don't ignore the flags. Don't be afraid of the difficult conversations because you're going to have them. And if you do all of that, you reduce your chance of running into one of these chicks with a HOFAX score of 36. You have to do your part as a man when you are choosing to move that direction. Now, this conversation does not apply to you if all you're out here trying to do is bust down random chicks. And the truth is, if that's what you do, sir, you are part of the problem. You are helping break these women and turning them into what I saw on Wednesday night. What I from a couple of the people that I saw last night. You're part of that problem. Go fix you. Go heal you. We forget to heal ourselves as men. Take care of yourself, bro. Go ahead, Marcus.
Damn, I forgot last night happened. Yeah. My memory's so bad, but yeah. Yeah. So I think a lot of people have that.
You guys finish. Go ahead.
I think a lot of people had that experience, but refuse to acknowledge it and just move past. I think you're 100% right. I always said that. You see the stuff, and then you be like,
y'all gotta speak in complete sentence. Like y'all talking like we were there. So say it.
Oh, what happened last night, AP?
Okay. I will say it this way. Even on these panels, men don't get in these back and forth loud arguments with women. Let them say what they got to say. You say your point and you keep it moving. Last night, we saw 2 or 3 men going at 2 women. 2 women going at 2 or 3 guys, loudly, rudely interrupting each other. It was egregious. And the one thing as a man that I refuse to do is argue with a female. Like, why would you even do that? Sometimes the best course is like, all right, sis, you got it, and just be done with it. But that's what was going on last night. It was entertaining, but it just some of the stuff just doesn't make sense to me. With some of the back and forth with women, like I would never argue. We can have civil discourse and have a conversation, but arguing with you, yelling at you, you yelling at me, what? No, ma'am. We're not in that space. We got to be better than that as men. Go ahead.
I agree. What would you say to the brothers who because I was reading the chat and there was people who was adamant that these women needed to be fought. How do you like? Where do you think that ideology comes from? Like, or what is that ideology? Because I always thought, like, all right, if somebody say something you don't agree with, you can hear everything they say and then respond to that. But some people, like a decent amount of people, believe that if you let women say things unchecked, then you no longer are a man. Like, I don't know how they equating that you gotta, if a woman starts speaking and you don't like what she's saying or agree with what she's saying, you have to cut her off mid-sentence. Like if you looked at the chat, that's all that they were saying. Y'all gonna let her do? Y'all gonna let her?
I saw it. So this is my thought on that. When you say check, that means you have the ability to actually hold somebody accountable. If they don't respect you, if they don't give a damn about you, there's no way you can hold them accountable. You don't have that power. You don't have that authority. And when you don't have that power and you don't have that authority, sometimes it's best to be like, all right, you got it, sis, and ignore them and keep moving. Like, really, and I'm gonna tell you something that's really, really dope. If you really want to piss off a woman, let her talk for 3 minutes and then don't acknowledge a single thing that she said.
that does work. Be like, yeah, so mistaken.
Right. I'm telling you that, like,